Welcome to Section 3, Part 1 of ITIL 4 Specialist Drive Stakeholder Value Certification Training Program from Trainings Direct. In this section, we are going to focus on the step 2 of the customer journey, which is the engage step. Engage step is about communicating and collaborating, understanding the service relationship types, building the service relationship, and managing suppliers and partners. So as the word engage indicates, it's about getting into an engagement between the customer and the provider. The syllabus here is about fostering stakeholder relationships. Know how to foster stakeholder relationships. Understand in particular the concepts on mutual readiness and maturity and the different supplier and partner relationship types and how these are managed. In general, the engage step builds transparency between the consumer and provider organization. It facilitates continual engagement and trust, resulting in mutual understanding of preferences and experiences. And this step is critical for eventual successful value realization, because trust convinces every party that the other party is also committed to mutual success, and success leads to more trust, and trust again leads to more success. There are other things also as part of the syllabus, as part of fostering stakeholder relationship. Know how to develop customer relationships, know how to analyze customer needs, how to use communication and collaboration activities and techniques, know how the relationship management practice can be applied to enable and contribute to fostering relationships, and also know how the supplier management practice can be applied to enable and contribute to supplier and partner relationships management. Collaboration and trust in general increases the demand from the customer, thus contributing to value creation. And this collaboration and trust strengthens the provider's competitive advantage in the market, because they acquire resources for product and service delivery when they do well. So it begins with collaboration and trust. It creates competitive advantage for the provider, and based on the advantage, they are able to acquire more resources and perform product and service delivery quite well. In general, meeting outcomes is just not enough. The provider should also maintain and improve the service levels. That's why we have these practices coming up with the focus on those aspects also. There's also shared understanding about the outcomes, as well as shared understanding of mutual experience and preferences. And a good service relationship or a good engagement promotes all that. Therefore, early engagement can reduce wrong assumptions about outcomes, experiences, preferences, etc. With that, let's move on and understand more about this. The first concept is about mutual readiness and maturity, but we will cover this a little bit after, by first gaining understanding of some other basic concepts before we can move on to mutual readiness and maturity. Firstly, understand the different supplier and partner relationship types and how these are managed. In this table, we see three different types of relationships: basic, cooperative, and partnership. And each one of them has three aspects: the relationship maturity, the approach for building the relationship, and the key attributes of the relationship. And we're going to see that for the basic one, the cooperative one, and the partnership relationship. As we know from before, the whole purpose of engaging and fostering relationships for both the provider and consumer is to facilitate outcome and experience, is to optimize the risk and compliance, and to optimize resources and minimize cost. This is what we observed in another previous section on the customer journey. What is the benefit for the service consumer and the service provider in a customer journey? Basic relationship. In this, it is about ad hoc order taking, reactive service without challenging customer request, lack of quality data. On the other hand, cooperative relationship is about service provider. The provider is a real service provider, not an ad hoc order taker. Is a trusted advisor. Both understand capabilities and needs, meaning the consumer and provider both understand the needs and capabilities. Decision making is mutual between them. It increases the sense of value. In a partnership, it goes even further. It's a strategic partnership. Common goals are there with focus on value, clear accountability for achieving value, quality data for understanding value. The approach for building the relationship, let's see that. In a basic relationship, there is frequent misperception and distrust, reactive course changes, meaning the direction may change reactively, not proactively, and the value may be hidden. In cooperative, the approach is the routine is good, but innovation is challenging. Portfolio aligned to business needs, sense of value. However, innovation may be lacking. In partnership, there are shared goals for maximizing value, shared risk and reward. The key attributes of a basic relationship are little information sharing, price-driven, easy to exit, single point of contact. In a cooperative relationship, it seeks to add value, many points of contact, expensive, forecasting but not joint planning. On the other hand, partnership, deep trust and partnership, acknowledging mutual importance, free exchange of information, hard to exit. So engaging involves building and sustaining relationship, understanding the needs, assessing the mutual readiness and maturity. These depends on the customer's objectives, the service type, and the service provider type. So we have these three types of relationship. The closer and mature the relationship is, the more it will be transparent. The more the communication will become informal, and the more the sharing of the risk and reward. But sometimes such close relationships may not be desired. Too much trust can also be a problem due to market reasons, security reasons, or economic reasons. Basic examples of, let's look at some examples. A basic relationship could be for simple services off the shelf, whereas a cooperative relationships are generally for procedural type of activities, for example, incident handling type, which are process-based, whereas partnerships can be for it could be a new customized service to be rolled out, then partnership would be better. This basic relationship is generally okay for standard products and services when the focus is more on the operations efficiency. This is where the service provider can provide resilient and repetitive operations to meet the service levels. The effort is minimum, the deviations are minimal. And generally in the basic relationship, the commercial aspect is to keep extending the contract, and relationship building is not done at all. It is generally avoided because the product service can become unprofitable, and if the relationship is strong, then the customer may ask for more. So, however, the customer has a good control on the provider for the SLA, but customer may not be able to assess value from the service. In a cooperative, on the other hand, the provider can tailor the product or services to the consumer's needs, and the consumer expects that the provider will think about the service outcome also. The provider will also think about the experience and not just the service levels as in the basic one. Therefore, the provider will look for new opportunities to create more value for the consumer. Therefore, information exchange will be much more here as compared to the basic relationship. But provider may spend too much time. They may want to gain more trust, and they will start providing high value services, and they may not get money back on that. So cooperative is somewhere between the basic and partnership. So some of the efforts in cooperative may not be acknowledged with payment by the consumer. So in a partnership, provider and consumer may act as one organization, coordinating activities across a large range of functions and processes. There is more strategic alignment. The goals and priorities are worked out together. Though there is a lot of transparency, it may be more expensive to be transparent because more resources people will be involved in the relationships and sharing information and knowledge. But that helps in identifying errors, creating the best solutions. And there is a lot of patience between both parties. They may want to wait for the results by experimenting because it is a long-term perspective rather than a short-term perspective. So much about these type of relationships which can impact the way the provider and consumer will deal with each other. Time to reflect on the learnings and explore more on those concepts or study more from the manual